Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Kind of expected, but not the news we wanted to hear. Le'Veon Moss going to be out for significant time. Welcome into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Our good friend, the columnist, the old curmudgeon, whatever they call him, Olin Buchanan, is in Birmingham, Alabama with Luke Evangelist. Not that Luke's going to be on the show. We've exiled him. He's not going to be able to be on the show anymore after his text to me this morning. OB, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
What's up?
Well, I've been up for a couple of hours trying to work on football content, so I can get all the football and the basketball content done this week. It's a busy week.
What's the layout from a basketball perspective? I know A&M's tomorrow, correct? So what's happening today?
I don't know. There was some thought that Greg Sankey might speak, but he's not on the schedule. So there's half the teams are going today. I don't have the list right in front of me of who's all going. I know Texas is one of them. I think Arkansas is one of them. And it's interesting, they're doing for each team, both the men's and women's coaches and men's and women's players. Last year and every other year before, they'd do the women on one day and the men on the other. And quite frankly, just to be honest, I think a lot of the reporters would either leave before the women went, or if the women went first, they wouldn't show up till the next day. So it's the SEC trying to keep people here.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the big news yesterday. We saw it. We thought it could be bad. We hoped it wasn't. And I guess all things considered, not good news by any stretch, but not as bad as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, considering the way Le'Veon was tackled and the reaction, he was obviously in severe pain and then being helped off the field. And when you also consider, they had the knee injury, it's probably as good a news as you could hope for, and that it's an ankle and that he'll be back at some point this year. I don't know if it's a high ankle sprain or what. Those can take a while, but at least you've got the feeling that he'll be there to help you out at some point. And so now you look and you say, well, can A&M survive it better than they did last year? And I know they have some good running backs, much more depth than they had last year. But what Le'Veon does that's different and why he's the starter is he runs violently. He attacks the line of scrimmage. He doesn't necessarily go looking for a hole and dancing around, waiting for a hole to develop. He goes in. If it's not there, he'll either make it or he bounces out, which is how he got hurt. He had bounced that outside. And so that's what you worry about. There's no doubt that they have running backs that can carry it and be productive. They've proven that. But are they going to be the same kind of force that Le'Veon Moss is?
Well, I have some thoughts on this, that I think they are much better suited this year to handle it than they were a year ago. And I'm going to tell you my why, OB. First off, they do have Reuben Owens. They have a deeper running back room than they had a year ago. Yes. Morrow. I think E.J. Smith is a much better option this year than he was a year ago at this point, where he wasn't really healthy and I almost cringed when he got the ball last year. Now I look forward to him getting the ball, right? What he showed us at the end of the year last year in the bowl game, what he showed us this past game. So I think from a depth perspective, and you still have Amari, who was excellent for A&M last year without Le'Veon and without Ruben. So I think the running back room, it's never ideal to lose your best offensive player or top 3 offensive player, wherever you want to put Le'Veon. Never. But the problem last year, with the team, was not their offense. The problem was the defense couldn't get stops. The offense scored enough points to win, not in the Texas game. The Texas game, that was not good. Okay, we all can recognize that. But there's at least 2 wins out there that if the defense does their job, the offense wouldn't be a storyline, right? The defense is now elite. If we're going to believe what we've seen through the first 6 games of the season, the Notre Dame game, a lot of points were scored in a back and forth. But since that point, it has been all defense all day, all the time. What say you?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons they can absorb this loss better than they did last year. I think the fact that you have Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver allows you to do that as well, because you have other options, big play options that you didn't have last year. So all those things you can look at. Marcel's a better quarterback. You can look at all those things. Okay, this is a reason why I don't think it'll be, the offense doesn't just go stagnant like it did at times last year. That said, we can't minimize the impact that Le'Veon Moss has on the offense. Now, dare I say this, I think even without Le'Veon, you should beat Arkansas. Arkansas has one of the worst pass defenses in the country. You should be able to exploit that. And they do struggle against the run. And you have an offensive line that's better than their defensive line, and you should be able to run even without Le'Veon. And your defense is probably going to give up more points than you have been to Arkansas, but you still feel like your defense is going to be effective, right? So and then you'll play a LSU team that, of course, you want to have Le'Veon for that game, but you might not need to score in the 30s to win that game against a team that has offensive issues. And then you'll have an open date. So, if Le'Veon, let's keep our fingers crossed, if he's a quick healer, maybe, I know this is probably being too ambitious, but maybe you could get him back for the Missouri game. I'm not saying you will, but we can always hope. John Mateer, right, had a broken hand or whatever and was able to play not very well, but able to play, 3 games later or 3 weeks later. So we can always hope.
Well, you know what, though, B? Let's hope that we can take our time with Le'Veon, right? Let's hope it's not like, oh, my gosh, because Oklahoma, they were in a position like, dude, I don't want to have this guy quarterback. We need Mateer back. He's a Heisman, and they felt that they needed him to win those games. I'm hoping that this backfield is enough that yes, we need Le'Veon to win a national championship or get to the SEC championship game. Yes, absolutely. But I'm hoping that this backfield does enough that you can take your time with Le'Veon.
Well, that's true. I don't think they would rush Le'Veon back in by any means. Again, look at Mateer. He wasn't very effective. But, if he's right, we can hope that he'll be right by then. But I'm with you. Ruben Owens had a season high for Texas A&M just 2 games ago, 142 yards rushing. I really like what I've seen from Jamarian Morrow. I think he kind of runs. He doesn't appear to be as big, but I think he runs with kind of the same attitude that Le'Veon Moss has. And of course, we've seen it from Amari, and you mentioned DJ. So, you may not. Again, I think there's every reason to still be very confident, unlike last year when you're like, I don't know how this is going to go. And it didn't go well. But I think this year, there's a lot more reason to be confident moving forward.
Somebody from a 979 texting the show actually yesterday, how was Le'Veon not the first question? And there's an answer for that because Billy Lucci had it up on the premium boards 20 minutes before the press conference. So that's one of the big reasons you want to go to TexAgs.com and become a premium subscriber. Billy gets the intel before everybody else. So those of you who were on the thread saw that 20 minutes before Coach Elko addressing it in the second question of the press conference. OB, against Arkansas, I agree. I don't think you need Le'Veon. I would love Le'Veon against. I'm not saying that Arkansas is going to be easy by any stretch, but that team has a hard time stopping anything defensively. But I'll give them this. All their games outside of Notre Dame have been close.
Yeah, because they've been able to, throw out Arkansas State and Alabama A&M. They lost to Ole Miss 41-35. It's a touchdown game. Memphis, they lost by 1 point. And then Tennessee last week they were down, I think, 34-17 in the fourth quarter and scored twice and made that a game. So their offense can keep them in a game. I know you're a fighter, so the phrase "a puncher's chance."
Yeah.
And so that's what Arkansas has. They have a puncher's chance because of that offense. You miss a field goal or two, you fumble and squander away an opportunity to score. You have some penalties problems again, and then Arkansas hits a couple of big plays, and all of a sudden, your win could be in jeopardy. If you still go out and play a clean game, anything approaching what you did last week, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I think about this whole Le'Veon thing and just how far I think this program has come under Mike Elko, look, he's not going to be the last injury this year, right? The teams are going to have to go through injuries. We've seen it with Oklahoma. We've seen it all over the place. Even Nussmeier, who Brian Kelly recently said that's getting, he's almost himself. People are going to deal with it. But I feel like the depth on this team will allow A&M to hopefully navigate it better than we saw in years past. They've already gone through it with Scooby. And now Scooby, you consider that linebacker room a position of strength because Damian Sanford was put in a position to have to perform. Reuben Owens is now going to be in a position to have to perform. Amari last year was put in a position that he had to perform.
Yeah. And I think it's a situation where if you have a guy, whether it be Reuben or anybody, right, who isn't performing, you got some other guys to say, like, if you want to, hey, man, you've been having some trouble in, pass protection. So I got somebody else I can put out there. Right. It's just that you have options, and you really didn't have a whole bunch of options last year. Not that Amari didn't play well, like you said, but it was pretty much Amari and that's it. Because like you said, you had EJ, but he wasn't 100% either.
OB, are you familiar with the television network CBS?
I am.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't know if you'd never heard of them. They released their mid-season All-Americans. Would you like to guess which Aggies are on that list? There's three. Three Aggies.
Say three. Okay. I would say Mario Craver.
Bam.
I would say Torian York.
No.
Okay. I would say Cassius Howell.
Yes.
And then the third one must be an offensive lineman.
Correct.
So I'm going to guess that it's Trey Zoon.
Close. Try again.
Okay, it's Amarje.
Amarje, yes, correct. You're pretty good there, though, buddy. I like the way you kind of broke it down. Craver.
Quite frankly, I mean, I don't get to watch everybody all over the country, and I know, and I shouldn't have said Torian because so many people just focus on tackles, and I've been as skeptical as anybody sometimes when it comes to Torian, but I can't imagine anybody playing better linebacker than Torian York right now, unless it's Damian Sanford.
OB, tell the people how they can call the show.
All right. Yeah, you can call us on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. You can also text, right?
Yeah.
And the number is 979-693-1150.
So we're currently not hanging out in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but for me, it's right over there.
Well, I think it's cool wherever you are, Dave.
Well,
you're a cool customer.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel a little older today with my body aching.
BV MMA shirt.
Yeah, BV MMA. Shout out to Bubba and the good folks over there, and Bob Loop. All right, let's go around the room and say hi to the humans. Shall we do that?
All right.
Across the glass, across the room, whatever you want to call it. Nick Savage is with us. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, y'all.
Hello, sir.
Howdy. Yeah, I feel pretty good with Jamorian Morrow back there, like you said, OB, he's been pretty impressive in the limited touches he's gotten. So I mean, him combined with Ruben, combined with Amari, I think there's a little added step to the room over last year when Amari and a banged up Ruben kind of had to carry the load there. So if they can get through the stretch, it sounds like, according to Billy, he'll be back towards the end of the year. So I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with y'all.
I mean, I'm worried about it because I want our best players out there, right? And I think in an SEC season, you need them. That being said, I feel good about what they have, right? We saw what Ruben did a couple weeks ago against Mississippi State, and you're not always going to be facing the Florida defensive line, right? Like, you're going to face some, middle of the road defensive lines. By the way, Arkansas has a hard time against the run. We'll see about LSU here in a couple of weeks, but got to focus on Arkansas. OB.
I want to see. We all want to see the Aggies 7-0 when they go to Baton Rouge, and to get there, you got to go up to Fayetteville. I hear the rain. I hear it's going to be raining, so the weather's going to be gross. Again, Arkansas. Say what you want about them. I've known years when they've just sucked under Britt Bielema and even Chad Morris, and gave A&M a hard time in Dallas. And now it's going to be up in Fayetteville, and there's going to be all the hillbillies are excited about this one. And that hillbilly's not a derogatory term.
You're part of the community.
I lived in Fayetteville for a while.
Did you? I didn't know. I don't think I knew this story.
In the 7th grade.
Okay.
I sure did. So anyway, it's going to be another tough game that you should win because you're a tough-minded team, but you're going to have to work for it. We would like to look at Arkansas and see the way they got just destroyed by Notre Dame and say, hey, transitive property? A&M beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame destroys Arkansas. Therefore, A&M's going to destroy Arkansas. But, of course, we all know that doesn't always hold true.
Yeah, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski.
Hey, how are y'all?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I saw your folks were in town. Got to enjoy the game?
Yes, it was so fun.
Yeah?
It was my dad's weekend for my sorority, so
awesome.
Got to spend time with them. And then I went home. I drove in from Houston this morning.
Okay.
I went home for fall break, so it was good to have family time. But happy to be back, and
welcome back.
I'm ready to watch the Aggies on the road 3 games in a row.
Yeah, 3 games in a row. What do you have for us?
Texas A&M's Dayon Hayes was named SEC Co-Defensive Lineman of the Week on Monday for his standout performance in the number 4 Aggies 34-17 win over Florida last week. And Texas A&M punter Tyler White was selected as one of Reyes 8 for Week 7, as announced by the Augusta Sports Council and the Ray Guy Award Committee on Monday.
Great stuff. What else?
Yeah. Mia Kupris of the Texas A&M women's tennis team claimed a spot in the NCAA Singles Championship by winning her ITA Texas Regional Championship semifinal match Monday at the Friedman Center. Number 22, Kupris took down Raquel Caballero Chica of TCU 6-love, 7-5 to advance to the championship match. The 2 finalists earned spots in the NCAA Singles Championship held in Orlando from November 18th to 23rd.
Awesome, McKinley. Appreciate that. OB, we're going to talk 1775 here. How was dinner last night with Luke? What'd you guys do?
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't as good as 1775.
Yeah, I'll tell you that.
We ate in the airport in Dallas.
Airport food is not good. Sorry, not a fan.
Yeah, expensive and very bland. We did stop by a pizza place that Bucky McMillan had recommended, and it was really good. I mean, it's really good, but not as good as 1775 barbecue. I mean, you can't do better than that. When I was having that, I had in the airport, I had a brisket quesadilla, and I'm like, no, this isn't even. I've become a brisket snob since I've eaten at 1775. I was saying this isn't succulent. This isn't a succulent brisket like you get at 1775. And they didn't have the pork ribs or the jalapeno cheese sausage or even the queso mac and cheese.
If 1775 called you one day, OB, and was like, hey, we want to do a one-weekend event with pizza. What would be on that 1775 barbecue pizza?
Well, you put the brisket on there, chop some of that brisket up. So I would think you would definitely take the sausage. You'd put some of that sausage on there, and some would put some pork, sprinkle it with pulled pork. I don't know if you could fit a rib on there.
You might be able to.
Or you'd have to, you know what? You could. You know why? Because those ribs are so tender.
They fall off the
just
bone.
Fall off the bone.
Yeah, they do. It is 1775, txbbq.com. You can call them up, 979-492-6241. It's 1775. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas, it's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. Watching OB dance on the Zoom. It's really good. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB's on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. You like that song, huh, OB?
I like Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of my all-time favorites. He's my all-time top 10 of country singers.
OB, who's on your performance of the week?
Well, let's see. Again, so many, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I don't want to just. I'm not going to wuss out and just say, "Hey, the whole run defense." I will say Damian Sanford.
He makes game-changing
really well.
plays, right?
Yeah. But you could have said. I know you're going to have some others, but you could have picked out a bunch of guys on the defense. Look at Deion Hayes.
Yep.
Look at Cassius Howe. I think Albert Regis is playing tremendous football, probably the best football of his career. And then, we haven't even talked about offense.
Who would you put on offense?
I was really, I thought, I thought KC played really well. I thought he made some key plays. He didn't put up the huge numbers. I thought Marcel played well. I mean, I don't know that I don't know that there was the eye popping. I thought was really good was Nate Bokacher.
Yeah.
So that was more of a well-rounded kind of thing, but a lot of people playing well, not necessarily having that great eye-popping game, but playing really well. So especially and quite frankly. I'd put Le'Veon. I mean, that third touchdown was. I mean, that's Le'Veon. That's the epitome of Le'Veon on that third touchdown where he splits two tacklers at the line and just gets into the secondary and hits that safety number 14 and just like I wrote, he just ran through him like number 14 was a turnstile.
I also think, OB, you could put Marcel Reed on there, and yeah. I'm going to give you a couple reasons. I think many people focus on the interception, and that interception was not good, right? We all know that. He wishes he had that back. But when a quarterback throws for 234, rushes for another 37, and has a touchdown there, right? Like, opens the game with a 62-yard pass, and people are, like, down on him, do we not remember some of the quarterback play just in the last few years that we've seen? This guy is underappreciated. I had a guy on the YouTube page just say he's middle of the road SEC. The guy's 6-0 right now. And look.
Well, just the fact that he's fifth in the SEC in passing tells you he's not middle of the road.
Right. I just think certain folks want to not believe in him, right? And go ahead.
Well, I think the frustrating thing with Marcel, and I'm a big believer of his, that. He's going to, at his current pace, he's going to be a 3,000-yard passer. And the last time A&M had a 3,000-yard passer was 2019. But you see him make plays, and you see the consistency, but that there's this next level that he can get to.
Yeah.
And he's so close to it. And I think that's what's frustrating. And I think he knows he's close to it, and that's why I believe, it's my theory, Mike Elko and Colin Klein might tell me I'm completely crazy, but I think that he's trying to push it to get there, and that's why sometimes he makes a bad decision. He had on that interception, he could have had a 5-6 yard completion, and to Terry Bussey, easy. And if Bussey breaks a tackle, it's a touchdown. But you assume the tackle's going to be made. And it was first down, if I'm not mistaken. So if he makes that check down throw instead of throwing into double coverage, you're looking at 2nd and 4 at the 9. And so that I think that's where people get frustrated with him, because he's so close. He is so close. I think the interception he threw against Mississippi State, the check down would have been a good play. So he's making big plays. He's making good plays. It's just take the check down here and there and separates him from maybe being great, from being really good to great.
Obi, I think one part that people are not focused on is that he is doing it with his arms more than his legs. Last year, he relied on his legs a lot. And by the way, that's still a weapon, right? Like, whenever they want to unleash it, it's a weapon. But we're trying to keep him healthy for 16 games this year. So, like, he is doing it throwing the ball with an occasional run here or there, right? Like, there's not as many design runs or zone reads as we've seen in the past.
That's true. And Elko even last week kind of touched on it when he said, all the things. And one of the things he said about why they don't run him much, keep him healthy. But he is such a weapon when he does decide to run. And I think, in any game, maybe even lull your opponent to sleep because they forget it because he's not running. And then he can, he can tuck it and go, or you can call a design play. I would like he doesn't seem to me to be seeing the field when he runs the zone read as well as he did last year. Because there's been a couple of times he's handed off, and if he keeps it, the corner's open. Now maybe he's being instructed to do that too. Okay, so because I don't know, I'm not in there, but I think we all see these immense possibilities with Marcel, and you see him touch them, but it's like putting, your getting in the pool and getting them out, waist deep. Say, come on, Marcel, no, just dive all the way in because I know it's there. So I don't think it's people typically thinking he's a bad quarterback. In fact, I think most even Aggies will say, he's a really good quarterback. But you see greatness. You see the potential for greatness there.
Before we hit a break, I want to read this from Figurine Champ. If Reed is middle of the road, then who's top of the road?
That's right. I mean, it's true.
I mean, you have Mateer, who on several occasions this year, by the way, I think Mateer is really good. All right. I'm higher on him than a lot of people are that now that have turned on him. I still think he's a good quarterback. But he throws some passes every game. You're like, why did he throw that? Why did he do that? Like, and he ain't the only one. Excuse me for saying ain't. Arch had a really good game against them, but has had some questionable moments this year. You look at all throughout the SEC. Who was the most touted quarterback coming into this season? Probably Lenore Sellers and Garrett Nussmeier, right?
Well, the most touted was Arch Manning, but Nussmeier and Sellers were right there. Yeah. I mean, who knew that the quote best quarterback might be Trinidad Chambliss,
right? Or Ty Simpson. OB, we're gonna let you go because I know you got some work to do. We're gonna have Charean on here. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll probably even put Luke on for a little bit.
All right. Well, give my regards to Charean.
All right, buddy. Take care. That is Olin Buchanan on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. He is in Birmingham, Alabama for SEC Basketball Media Days. McKinley, we will come to you at some point to finish off our performance of the week, but we got to hit a break. And the Rollo Insurance Group is a great group of people, regardless of the insurance, they're just good dudes. I love everybody who works there. Jason Jackson, the whole crew, Keith, fantastic. Morgan is my guy. There's just a lot of really good people there. And you want to do business with good people who put you first, right? When they put you first and they consider all your options and they do all the shopping for you so that you get the best insurance situation for you and your family. If you're looking for, insurance for your family business, if you're looking for insurance for your ranch, if you're looking for your home, whatever it may be, let the Rollo Insurance Group take care of you because they'll start a relationship with you and they'll become familiar with everything that you're trying to accomplish with your insurance needs. When you have advice or a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows you by name and your situation. That's the Rollo difference, and they promise that. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studios. The Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find the Hall of Famer, the Aggie great, our good friend, Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk. Charean, good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
I'm all right. Charean, look, there's a lot of business to get to when it comes to A&M and in the NFL, but the devastating news about Moss being out for a while, just your thoughts on that and how confident you are in that running back room now that there are several other options.
Yeah, when I saw it from the stands, and I need to watch it again, to me it looked like a hip drop tackle, and maybe it wasn't, but that's what it looked like, and it looked bad from start to finish. I was pretty sure that he had done something pretty drastic to that ankle or knee, and sure enough, it sounds like it's a high ankle sprain. And to me, there would be hope there that, CeeDee Lamb has a high ankle sprain. He's missed 3 games, probably going to come back this week. It depends on the grade. We don't know the grade if that's what it is. But typically a 4 to 6 week injury. But that to me was best case scenario based on what I saw out of that tackle live. I just thought his season might be over, and it's not over. He should be able to come back and play this year. But yeah, I think you have a lot of confidence in that running backs room with what we've seen, and you have the veteran Smith and Daniels back there, and of course Ruben Owens has played great, and I want to see more of Morrow. I think he's been really good in the limited snaps that he's gotten this year, and they're obviously trust him to put him in bigger situations now, and he's grown, and he's done that, and he's played well. So I look forward to seeing him in more of those big game situations and making some plays, because I think he's going to be really, really good.
Charean, I also think that the defense being so much better than it was a year ago gives me more faith that this team can navigate through this tough time because they can lean on that defense.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. When you have a defense that's going to keep you in games, I mean, you're in much better shape, and this defense is going to keep this team in every single game. And then it's up to the offense to score enough points. They've shown they can certainly do that. I think you worry a little bit about Casey Concepcion's hamstring or whatever it is, but he played through that the other day. Wasn't out there on punts, returning punts. But yeah, you're going to have injuries, and the good teams overcome those injuries and do what they need to do. Every team's going to have big injuries, and I think this team is well positioned with depth and with the defense that they're going to be able to navigate those injuries, whatever they are. And this is the first big one that they've really had. And hopefully, you minimize those other injuries and they aren't as big as this one was. And hopefully you're not losing guys for the season. They've been really good injury-wise. I think that's a credit to Tommy Moffitt and the training staff and the athletic training staff and all those people who do such a great job. I mean, I do think there's something to do that. There's bad luck in football, and you're going to have injuries because of the nature of the game. But I do think there's something to be said for the off-season training, the training program that you have, and the athletic training. And I think A&M's top-notch in both of those. So it is going to minimize as much as you can in football those injuries.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. All right, Charean, now the attention turns to the road. And they got to go 3 straight to, you got to get this Arkansas game, you got LSU, you got the bye week, you got Missouri. So as good as this defense is playing, as good as they can run the ball, like what are some keys you think over the next month?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, being able to run the ball and stopping the run on the road, and A&M's well-positioned in to do both of those things, even without the great Le'Veon Moss. I think they'll be able to do that. That offensive line, the way they played the other day was just unbelievable, out of their minds. And not to have any, holding penalties and the way they play. Yeah, I was amazed at how well they played against Florida. That was by far their best game of the season, and I was excited to see it. That they're really good. and they showed that against Florida, and they've shown that most of the year. And, just the holding penalties sometimes have set some drives back. But, when you have an offensive line and a defensive line like A&M has, you're going to be able to win games, whether it's on the road or home. And can I just say, my favorite play the other day, I raised my arms and said, praise Jesus. We finally got Reed under center for a short yardage play. I was so excited and picked up the first down, and it was a great play. I'm like, where's that play been? Where's that play on the goal line a couple games ago? But I was so happy to see them put Reed under center and do that in short yardage situation. I can't even tell you how excited. People around me were laughing how excited I was.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Charean, Cowboys defense is a problem. Dak isn't. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing from the Cowboys.
Well, I think it's just what we were talking about. It's hard to have a good team when you don't have a good defense, and it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. He is playing at an MVP level. Look, he's not going to win the MVP. You look back at what Joe Burrow did in 2024. Did the same thing. Didn't have a defense. Didn't win many games, but his stats were unbelievable last year, Joe Burrow. He got comeback player of the year. Didn't win MVP. Got some MVP votes. I had him on. You vote for 5. I had him, I think, 4th, maybe 5th on my list of MVP, on my final MVP ballot. And it's going to be the same way with Dak Prescott. He's playing at MVP level, but if you're not winning games, it can't be MVP. It doesn't work like that. He's going to be comeback player of the year. He's going to be on the MVP ballot, but he's not going to be MVP. And for all those saying that, look, Dak's head and shoulders above, playing above anybody else, I take offense to that because I look at what Baker Mayfield is doing and what Jared Goff, I'm still crusty from the game, from yelling so much, but Jared Goff is doing in Detroit, especially Baker. I would have Baker probably first on my list right now of MVP if I had to vote today. And it's a long way to go, but I would have him probably number 1. But Dak is playing at that level, but the defense is so bad it's not making a difference. And so they've got to do something about that defense. And Brian Broaddus, who used to be, he's on 105.3 The Fan up here now, and used to be a scout for the Cowboys, suggested today that the Cowboys trade George Pickens if they don't have a plan for his future. And I don't think they're going to be able to afford George Pickens. I think he's going to come in at $30 million a year after the way he's played this season. So if you don't have a plan for him and you lose these next couple of games, you really should think about trading him. You should listen to what offers come in because I think they'd be able to get a first-round pick. And maybe they think, well, we already have, 2 first-round picks next year and 2 the next year, whatever. But you need to rebuild that defense. So that's going to be probably the best way to do it. You're not going to do it in season. I don't know that going out and trading for a defensive player before the trade deadline is going to do all that much to you. Maybe Overshawn comes back and he's close and it helps your defense. But if you lose these next couple of games, you could be close to being out of it anyway. But I do think you assess after these next 2 games about what you do with Pickens and whether you're a buyer or a seller on the market at the trade deadline, which is that first week of November.
All right, Charean, let's do Ags in the NFL. I know you got a couple different ones you can pick from.
Yeah, and I missed one last week, so I'm going to have him number 1 this week. I'm going to do honorable mention to Bobby Brown. He had 2 tackles. Sounds like he didn't do much for Carolina, but he played a ton of snaps inside. He was really active inside for the Panthers against the Cowboys, and he had a tackle for loss on 3rd down that was huge for that team. So he really played a great game. So I'm going to have him an honorable mention. 3, Edrin Cooper, team leading 11 tackles, had a tackle for loss. He's just playing like we saw him play at A&M. Definitely will be a Pro Bowler this year. Very well could be an All-Pro with the way he's playing. Just really a difference maker on that defense. 2, Devon Achane, his best game of the year, 16 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 catches for 22 yards. He's doing what he did at A&M as well. And number 1, I missed him last week. He had a sack and a half last week. Von Miller had another half sack last night. That gives him 3.5 on the season. 2 tackles, the quarterback hit. He's just playing really well on the limited snaps he has, getting after the quarterback. So you just see what happens when he's healthy, even at his age. He can still get back there and make a difference.
The great Charean Williams, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. That is Charean. They're on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with some final thoughts right now. We're going to have the Association of Former Students here in a little while, but if you are looking for a reason to move back to Aggie land and you need a job, maybe you can check out the Association of Former Students that have a bunch of positions open from time to time in several different areas, maybe fundraising, maybe sales, communications, you name it. They got a lot of different openings. They are the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting that A&M network, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Howdy socials, Aggie Rain Day class reunions, and Aggie muster and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, coming to an end here in about a minute and a half or so. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. McKinley Polanski. Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Yes. You know that's your response, right? Like if I come to you, you're like this. Yes. 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 I'm here. Anyway.
I'm
hi.
here. Hi.
Say, hey, let's go to David Nuño at the desk.
Let's go to David Nuño at the desk.
Yes. Sorry. Just want to make it awkward again. Just for Nick. Anyway, what do you have for us?
All right. I'm going to read a text from Owen in Brenham. He said, what gives y'all more confidence in this team on the road this season other than the win at Notre Dame? Seems like we are in the same spot we were last year, now with Moss going down with an injury.
Yeah, all fair. The reason I have more faith is because what does my name start with?
D.
Correct. The defense.
Yes.
Defense travels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe, look, I don't think we're coming out of unscathed with Le'Veon or without, right? And he gives you a much better chance to win games, no doubt. Okay? But when you can play defense at a high level, I think you can win. By the way, you can't take away Notre Dame from the equation because it happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
And in Notre Dame, you had to go to a hostile territory where you hadn't won against a top team in forever, and you had to go win a football game at the end. So that adds to my belief. I think that this is a much more equipped team to handle some of the stresses that we saw last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get crazy. Baton Rouge is ridiculous, no matter who's out there, right? Like we know, just like going to Mississippi State and Starkville can be ridiculous.
Cowbells. Mm-hmm.
But and I'm going to give you the other reason. I know he was our coach last year, but the Mike Elko effect. Tommy Moffitt, Jay Bateman, Colin Klein. I believe in this coaching staff. I believe in this defense. And I believe in the other running backs. Those are the reasons why I think that they can make it work. We'll see how it plays out. Josh Pate coming up next on TexAgs Live. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for our weekly conversation with our buddy Josh Pate. Brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Huddle up. Tailgate season is here, and there's no better place to gear up than Academy Sports and Outdoors. If you want a grill that says my barbecue is just as good as my Smack Talk, they've got you. A cooler that screams I hold 47 cans and keep my cool in overtime, they've got that as well. And fan gear that says I score more style points than a football spinning, back flipping, funky chicken touchdown dance. Academy's got that at undefeatable prices because here, fun can't lose. Back-to-back days I've done it. Josh, good morning, buddy.
Yeah, so I've got some feedback for you.
Okay.
This has got to stay between us because this is supposed to be private. Then I know no one would ever repeat what they hear here. So last night I was down in Mobile. I was speaking to a touchdown club down there, and I've got to tell you that it's an Alabama event. It's a Red Elephant Club event. So the details of the event are classified, but I will tell you that one of the main topics of conversation was Texas A&M. When you do the Q&A, like one of the main topics of conversation was Texas A&M. So I anecdotally wanted to come here this morning, sort of a breakfast platter of compliments for the fine folks there and say that you've got people's attention. So any of the talk about flying under the radar, I think we're going to have to erase that, David, before too much longer, because I don't think we're under the radar here so much anymore.
Yeah, not under the radar, but at times, and I think this is okay, by the way, I don't care. Like, it's not a beauty pageant. Underappreciated. We have Aggies today on our YouTube page saying, yeah, Marcel's middle tier SEC. And I mean, maybe, but if middle to two is not, if it's, it's kind of like the SEC, right? When you look at the standings, 1 through 10, you can kind of make an argument, even if you believe it or not, of why Texas could, or why LSU could, or why Alabama could, or why Georgia could, right? Like, maybe that's the case, but I feel like Marcel throwing for 250, running for 37 and a touchdown, and yeah, he had a pick. I think he's playing at a pretty high level, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not sure what tier he's in the middle of. Middle of the top tier, it would probably be. So that would be fair, whatever the top tier is. The thing that happens in football a lot, this is not just an A&M thing, is you watch all of your team and you mainly remember highlights of other teams. So you see Ty Simpson's best. You see Gunnar Stockton's best. Typically, a normal fan's not watching all of their team and then everyone else in totality. If you are, good, but most people aren't. So you end up comparing your guys' best, good, and bad against the other guy's best. And it can sometimes fool you into actually thinking your guy's lower, a few rungs down the ladder than he is. I think Marcel's better than middle tier. I would also say this. Let's go back to the Florida game. Numbers are good. You just read off the numbers. Not great, but good. Are there not still throws there that could be made? Is there not still more meat on the bone? Now, we're saying that in a 31-17? Wasn't that the final? A 31-17 win. A win that I will agree with you using those adjectives for the A&M Florida game absolutely got overlooked. Absolutely was underappreciated because people just look at Florida's record and they don't understand. That was kind of a last gasp effort from Florida. That was, all in, and they just beat Texas and they're coming into your building. Kind of handled them and took over the second half, and Reed was a lot to do with that. But the third component of that, just to remember in how complimentary this game is supposed to be, is like you and I have talked about every week since the Auburn game, they have more than one or two ways to win. So if he doesn't light the world on fire one week and he's still a 31-17 winner, that's what he is. He's a winner. They're a winner. You're a winner. The team's a winner. So okay, if you got the fifth best quarterback in the league, but you have the confetti raining down on you in Atlanta, what did you accomplish? Everything you set out to.
Well, now they're going to have to do it without Le'Veon Moss, and A&M went down that path last year. And, offensively it wasn't kind. But then I remind myself, and I'm kind of arguing with myself here, Josh, but I remind myself that A&M didn't lose games because of the offense last year at the end. The Texas game they lost because offensively, I get that. But it was their defense not having the ability to stop teams at the end of games. So I look at the way this defense plays this year and how they've controlled fourth quarters, and how they can stop the run, how they are really good on the best at third down, stopping a third down. And I'm like, you know what? They had Amari and EJ last year in their backfield, and they did quite well offensively. Their defense struggled. This year, they've got those guys, and they got Jamarian Morrow, and they got Reuben Owens. Oh, no, by the way, this defense is really good. So I argued with myself to give you a platform to argue back.
Well, I don't have that much pushback on it. I would say that what did we talk about when we came into the season with them at the tailback position? We didn't talk about one name very intentionally because we thought they had really good depth in that room. No one, at least I didn't, tout A&M's ability to run the ball because of one guy. That is the case sometimes in college football. They were blessed enough to not have that be the case there. So a guy goes down, it's not the end of the world, but you're just going right back, I guess, up the funnel to what we've been talking about for several weeks, which is about the complementary nature of the team. Okay, the best compliment that I could give them right now is how many different ways they've won. You project that forward. It's just the middle of October right now. I mean, more injury probably will happen. You cross your fingers it doesn't, but it's a violent sport. So you're asking yourself, are we one of those teams that makes ourselves vulnerable to one injury derailing everything? And I think their answer is no. Obviously, quarterback's different entirely than any other position on the field, but I think their answer is no. So cross your fingers for health. You know it's probably not going to play out 100% like you want it to. It didn't with Le'Veon. So, I mean, think about another world you could be in. All right, go back to July. Go back to media days. Let's pretend Le'Veon Moss comes with A&M to media days, and he's the face of the offense, and everything's riding on him. And then you fast forward to the Florida game, and he goes down. And you got that scene of him walking up the tunnel. Think about how gutted you would have been. Like, think about, that's the season. It's over. It's done. Some teams out there would be like that. There are certain players on certain teams that their fate disproportionately hinges on. That's not A&M. That's actually a very good thing.
But now they got to go on the road. Arkansas, LSU, bye week, Mizzou. That's a tough stretch with or without Le'Veon. Just give me your thoughts on this team going on the road where they've already done it against Notre Dame. Now they got to do it against SEC teams.
So the Notre Dame win was such a mental hurdle to clear for many reasons, most of which we've talked about. But now that you're going back on the road, the other one you can talk about is there's so much to be said for having done something. If you're a field goal kicker and you miss to end a game last week, best thing you can do is hit a 44-yarder in the first quarter the next week because you've done it. The last thing wasn't a bad thing. So A&M looks in their rearview mirror last time they went on the road, one of the biggest wins in program history. Why would I be scared of going to Arkansas? Why would I not look forward to opportunities? And also, think about what we're trying to sell ourselves here. What we're trying to sell ourselves is this is a playoff caliber team, SEC championship caliber team, maybe a national championship caliber team. Well, if that's the case, you don't shy away from anything. You actually have opportunities because then you go on the road and instead of wilting, you get to try to reinforce the belief you already have about yourself. And you get to try and right a lot of past wrongs. And like if I were an A&M fan, I'd have the added motivation of the entire rest of the college football world thinking I can't do something because I haven't done something. And you don't get to go around that merry-go-round but once. Like if Mike Elko's there 10 years, like Kirby's been at Georgia, a ton of success will come. And in time, no one will doubt you anymore, and everyone will expect you to win if things go right. Well, A&M's not there yet. This is the real fun part. The part about totally flipping narratives and creating a new identity for a team, but also a new identity for a program. Like I hope A&M folks realize you're right in the middle of that right now. You're right in the middle of a special, sort of blooming, sort of debuting of a new way of doing things and a new way of the outside world thinking about A&M football. And I wouldn't take that for granted because that's the kind of stuff you get several years down the road into maybe even a successful run, and you still look back on and say, hey, I still love where we are now, but boy, that 2025, 2026, those seasons, those were so special. Those were so fun.
Josh, I keep getting text messages from friends of mine. Hey, man, should I be worried about Elko leaving for Penn State? And I'm like, I'm not worried. Like, look, I understand every media entity is going to put out candidates. And when you think about candidates, you're going to throw out Elko's name. You're going to throw out Drink's name, Clark Lee. You're going to start throwing out names. That's what media. But if this team is in the middle of a playoff run, they're not going to get Coach Elko. And if the season dismantles, they're not going to get Elko because he's not going to be as attractive as a candidate. And also, I think he's got everything he wants here. So I'm not going to worry about anything that I don't need to worry about.
It would be a 10 out of 10 on the shot meter to me if he entertained that job. So I don't really have much else to say on that. I've seen that stuff circulating, but then again, I heard all kinds of nonsense yesterday. That was just part of it. I will say this, though, like they're dealing with this at Nebraska right now. Now, A&M's a different strata than Nebraska. Nebraska actually may have something to worry about or not. I don't know. But at Nebraska, they're worried about whether they're going to lose Matt Rule or not. And I get it. But also, you need to look in the mirror and ask, what's the alternative? Would you rather him not be in demand? Would you rather nobody want to touch your head coach? It probably means you're about to hire a new head coach voluntarily anyway. So at A&M, you'd say the same thing. You just have the added bonus at A&M of saying he's already got a better job than the one that's open. So what are we really talking about here? Unless he played there, unless there's some really, really special emotional attachment. And even then, if I was a former Penn Stater and I had the A&M job, I have what Mike Elko has. I love my alma mater. It's not his alma mater, but I'm saying if it was my alma mater even open, I'd assist in their search. I'd wish them well. I'd help them out every way I could. I'm not leaving College Station, Texas right now. I've got one of the best jobs in the country.
Talking to Josh Pate here on TexAgs Live. Josh, do you think conference commissioners listen? Like Commissioner Sankey, you think he listens to what you have to say, what talking heads have to say, what's out there? Because your segment, I think it was yesterday or the day before on SEC officiating was just awesome. And I feel like sometimes when there's a movement, like when you hear all the chatter, you're like, you know what? We got to figure something out. Do you think they're going to figure something out with SEC officiating?
I don't know. I've never been given any reason to think they will. This is not the first disastrous Saturday. It's just the latest one that we've had. And I will also say this, it's not to pile on the SEC. I mean, they've got a mess on their hands in the Big 12. I mean, there's some G5 conferences that you would have to label it just outright almost corruption to properly describe how the behind the scenes mechanisms work. I don't even, David, I don't mean like this official's on the take. That's why he threw the flag. Not that. I'm talking about the typical BS you deal with. If you're watching right now and you work in corporate America and you see how ridiculous decisions are made and how they're made, officiating in college football is the same way. Deciding who gets put on a field is the same way. The inconsistency and incongruency in what's enforced over on this conference's side versus that conference's side. The little fiefdoms that are set up because you've got heads of officiating, and that's the most authority that they'll ever have in their lives, and they don't want to give that up, and they want to exercise that power. You know, it's like a small-town sheriff, except that they're running officiating apparati, plural of apparatus, in major conferences. That's the mess of it all. So, you know, my problem's never been with bad calls. As long as humans are involved, you're going to have bad calls. My problem's always been with a lack of transparency and this ridiculous curtain they hide behind of saying, well, these guys don't make the kind of money coaches do, or, well, these guys aren't full-time referees. We can't expose them to public scrutiny. Well, the last I checked the nature of those media rights deals, they had billions with a B on the end of it. So as long as that's the case, and as long as we spend the money we spend on this sport, you're telling me we can't full-time employ officials and make them accountable? And at the very least, I mean, Auburn's athletic director is under fire for going after the white hat as they're walking off the field at halftime, and he's yelling at him. And I looked at it initially and I said, wow, that's a bad look for John Cohen. But then I thought about it and I said, I'd probably be the same way. When else am I going to get an answer from those people? When else are they going to have to give me an explanation for what's happened? We don't even get so much as a pool report or something like that from officials. They just, you as a head coach, you got to go answer when you screw up. Even the players have to answer to the media when they screw up. And the one group of people responsible for enforcing the rules and controlling the game, they just get to skate on out of there with a police escort and you never hear from them again. And maybe, if you're lucky, the league sends you a letter 48 hours later saying, yeah, we messed up. We may have cost you a game. We're not going to give you a win. We're not even going to pay a fine to you like we would make you pay to us. We're just going to kind of send you an email and move on, and no one can do anything about it because we don't answer to anyone.
Talking to Josh Pate. Josh, do you think in July, when you were thinking about the ceilings for these teams, that you would have thought at the midway point you'd still be saying LSU's got a higher ceiling this year than Georgia? Because I believe that's how you phrased it. Like right now, it feels like LSU has a higher ceiling than Georgia.
I don't think I didn't think that in the preseason. I may still be wrong about that. You know, what I'm trying to figure out is, am I ever going to get more out of Garrett Nussmeier than I'm getting right now? And if he's physically limited the whole season, that statement is incorrect. So what I'm doing, and I'm doing it live on air when I'm doing the show, so sometimes it gets put on a quote graphic and I look like I'm saying something I'm not trying to say. What I'm trying to say with LSU is, or with Georgia rather, is I kind of think we've got what we've got with them. With LSU, that may also be the case. But with LSU, at least I have this voice in the back of my head that keeps saying, well, wait till they get Aaron Anderson back. Wait till Garrett Nussmeier's fully healthy. Maybe they got to go through another bye week for that to happen. Just if. If that doesn't happen, yeah, LSU's a very limited team too. And Georgia probably does have a higher ceiling. I just wonder about that. I think that LSU situation is very much in the balance right now. They've got a game at Vanderbilt. I'm actually going to get right down the road. I'm going to go Saturday. They're here in Nashville to play Vandy. They are 2.5-point dogs to Vanderbilt. So odds makers perspective, LSU is very vulnerable. Combined with Vandy's pretty good. David, if they lose that game, that's a second conference loss, and they've still got Bama, Oklahoma. They still got a number of big games to play. They play A&M, right?
Yep, the week after.
Yes, they've still got 3 of them that you would certainly classify them as being a dog in, I would suspect. So, yeah, that whole situation there at LSU is really interesting to watch.
Last thing for you, Notre Dame, USC. This is a game that, well, both programs obviously need it, but Notre Dame, like you look at the rest of their schedule, like if they want some quality wins, this USC game, especially after what they did to Michigan, becomes that quality win. How do you see this weekend playing out?
I think so. We're going to pick the game tonight. I think I lean Notre Dame in the game, although that's not certain. But I think this is the season for Notre Dame. We're mid-October. You always knew this was going to be the situation with Notre Dame. You always knew that their 3 best games were going to be first half of the season, maybe 4 if Boise was good. We don't know how good Boise is, but yeah, they could be out of it. And think about this: USC, what they just did in Michigan. Everyone wanted to call that a statement win. I didn't call it that. I called it a really good win. The statement is not made at home when you're a favorite, which they were. The statement is made when you go on the road as an underdog, like A&M did in the same building, ironically. That's where you make a statement. A statement is letting me know something has changed. I won't know something's changed with USC football until they go on the road and take care of business against someone that's physically been superior to them, a team that looks to be surging. They look to be surging in Notre Dame. So that's just another game on this landscape Saturday. We got another loaded landscape this Saturday.
Josh, great stuff, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, David.
Later, man. Josh Pate there on the Buffy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll talk to the folks at the Association of Former Students, find out what's happening this weekend and beyond. Right now, we're talking Twin Liquors. They are the best. You can take advantage of many of their deals at Twin Liquors. And here's the thing. When you are looking to shop, they always have these great deals through the end of the month. It's a perfect opportunity to stock up for Halloween, perhaps if you want to stock up for Thanksgiving already. This, you can double up on savings. It's in full swing. So what you need to do is check out all their awesome events as well. You can go to twinliquors.com/events to find their full list of events happening this month. It is Twin Liquors. Go check them out. Find their wine sales. Find their bottles. You name it. It is great stuff. It is Twin Liquor, fine wines and spirits. Now we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Time to go around the association. Our good friends, Randy Reyes, AVP of Marketing Communications. The title's changed on me.
It has, yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And Jameson Harvey's here, class of 27, who's receiving her Aggie ring this week with Aggie Ring Day coming up.
Yes, I am.
Are you pumped?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
All right. So I want to get to know your story. Okay. So I understand that there's a lot of Aggies in your family.
A lot of Aggies.
Take me through the different generations that have been Aggies.
Yes. Okay. So starting off, I guess my great-grandfather, he came here and then also professed here.
Okay.
And then both my grandparents attended here. My grandma was actually in the first class of women. So back then, you could only come to the school as a woman the first year if your dad or if you were married to someone that worked in the university. So her dad was a professor here, and then my parents also came here and met here. And
they met here, okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and then here I am.
And here you are. So was it a foregone conclusion you're going to be an Aggie no matter what?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very, very open about you can go wherever, but I just saw like the culture and the traditions growing up, and I loved it. Like I grew up going to football games, baseball games, basketball games, and I was like, I want to come here. Sports aspect.
You have good parents, because I tell my kids for graduating this year, my boys, that you can go anywhere you want.
Uh-huh.
I'm only going to pay for A&M.
Yeah.
But you can go anywhere you want.
Like you can go anywhere you want, but...
So what does the Aggie ring mean to you, especially since you have such a history with it?
Yeah, it's honestly just an honor. Seriously, it really is. Not only just carrying on the tradition, but the legacy. And sharing that with generations of my family and sharing that with the rest of the Aggie network as well. So it really is truly an honor. And I was just telling him, I was like, I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life. I remember being little and seeing my grandparents and parents' rings and playing with them all the time. And the older I got, and now being a student here, realizing how big, like how huge it is to wear that ring and honor it. So I'm really excited.
Do you remember your first Aggie football experience?
I don't, but
You remember some experiences?
I remember all the. My first memory was probably when I was about like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And actually, after the game, I remember it being a morning game, and after the game, it was when you can go play on the field because they didn't have like anything blocking it off, and the sprinklers came on, and we were just running up and down the field. But I've seen lots of pictures of me like months old with like big headphones on in the stadium. So I've been in the stadium for a while.
Randy, in my mind, I can't believe it's already the 25th anniversary of Aggie Ring Day, and I have 2 thoughts with it. One is, we've been doing it forever, but no, we did it after I graduated, and yet I still feels like a fabric of what we've been doing forever.
Yeah, I mean, for 25 years, right, Porter Garner, our president and CEO, had the vision to make it something worthy of what students had earned getting their Aggie ring. And so over that 25 years, it's been built to something incredible to what it's now today. I mean, we have a marketplace. We have people celebrating in the park. I mean, Aggie Park is the newest addition, and just to see the families going to the amphitheater, going to get ice cream at the creamery, taking pictures at the lake, I mean, it's just an amazing experience. But knowing that 25 years ago, Porter had that vision, and then over the last 25 years, it's grown to what it is today is incredible.
So 2 days this weekend, right?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. So on Friday, the 17th, from 9 to 6, we'll be handing out rings, and then Saturday from 9 to 3. And so, as always, you know, we always want to encourage people to take into mind some considerations. It's mostly an outdoor event, so you're going to jump on a shuttle, you're going to get off right around the creamery, you're going to walk about a half a mile, a lot of standing outside. So for those folks who have family that may be a little bit older, just take that in consideration. When you get into the building, you get your ring, and really it's not so much that a ceremony happens. You get your ring, take it outside, celebrate with family, go into the park, take your pictures there. We're handing out almost 5,000 rings over the next several days. We're expecting 50,000 people throughout those days, and so there's going to be a lot of people. And so for us, we just want to make sure that we have the best events, the safest event, and so as always, just encourage people to consider all the factors that are come in when they come to Ring Day.
I'm sure Porter had this vision for it, and the cool thing is the students have made it their own thing, right? So each year there's a little bit of added spice to it.
It is, and in fact, we and our team put together a story on the 25th anniversary of Ring Day. So if you go to tx.ag/25ringday, you can see and read the evolution of Ring Day. See those first pictures when students were camping out to get tickets to get the rings. We were talking a little bit earlier about our experiences when we were in school, much different than it is today. Now we have online ticket pool for getting your rings and things like that. But carnival games and all sorts of things that have happened over the course of that time. The story is awesome. The team that put it together is great. And so we encourage everyone to go check that out to see that 25 years of Aggie Ring Day.
And just to reiterate something, you can't park across the street. You're going to have to, there's going to be a little bit of a hike.
That's correct, yeah. So West Campus Garage is where we ask everyone to go. There's a shuttle that picks up there, takes you directly to the entrance of Ring Day. As you get out, you'll get picked up on Houston Street in Aggie Park, and it'll take you right back to the garage. So save you some steps, enjoy the experience. But yeah, West Campus Garage is where we encourage everyone to park.
Jameson, you have a lot of folks coming?
Yes, I do. I have my whole family, and then my grandparents, or my grandmother, and then some of their friends, and then some of my friends and all of them too. So,
but she talked about also, so grandmother would be there, and possibly bringing your grandfather's ring, and then maybe your great-grandfather's ring.
So my mom came up with the idea, and my grandmother, they were like, oh, what if we bring all the rings so we can get a picture?
That'd be great.
So I'm excited for that too, and just, again, seeing all of it in one setting. So my parents and grandmother, grandfather, and then I think they're looking for my great right now, but even if not, it still will be cool seeing. And my grandmother's going to present it to me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm really, really excited for that.
Randy, let's talk a little bit about jobs. There's always opportunities at the association.
Yeah, I mean, we come here all the time and talk about the great experiences we have at the association. It's an awesome opportunity. I've been here for more than 10 years now, and to be able to really see the impact that we make on students like Jameson is a great thing. And so we have positions, marketing, communications, the ring office. We have student positions. So if there's students out there that are looking to get some experience, be around former students, be around student organizations and things like that, we certainly are a great opportunity for that at the association.
Randy, Jameson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's great. Take a lot of pictures.
Yes, definitely.
We'll hit a break here. When we come back, Jamie Morrison will be here in studio. We'll chit-chat a little bit of volleyball right now. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Jamie Morrison in the studio, talk a little Aggie volleyball. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's one of my favorite parts of the week. Good to come in here and hang out with you.
You're always in a good mood.
I tend to be an optimist in life.
Yeah. But I think people feed off of that.
I would agree. And I think I got to remind myself of that sometimes. This thing can wear on you over time. As years go by and you get in these yearly cycles where things don't really slow down. But no, I'm in a good place right now. I got some rest on my off day.
You ever work with somebody who's just grumpy and it just kind of makes you like you don't know how to walk into the room and talk to them?
No, 100%. So and I don't know. I've always lived my life that way. I think we all have kind of personal mission statement when it comes to things, and mine is leave people better. So regardless of if it's somebody at a cash register at the grocery store or somebody on my team, I'm trying to make sure people are in a better mood after they see me. But thank you for the reminder of this. Sometimes you need a reminder of your personal mission statement. So thank you.
Or are you in a better mood after the way the week ended as opposed to the way it started?
Yeah, it was interesting because you go back to the Kentucky match, and I think everyone in the building, including myself, was like, we're going 5. And the way that ended, it was like, we're not going 5. And I think everyone was just sitting there like, that's it. But the energy in that building was palpable, and it was amazing. And and then I think we went on the road, and we were talking before we came on the air of just the SEC. It's like you don't know who's great and who's kind of not great. Every night's a challenge, and to go on the road in a hostile environment and then play Mississippi State the way we did and come out winning 3-0 was a nice way to finish the week.
Well, when you play in a conference that you really can't take a week off, regardless of what the record says, right? Like a team could struggle, but they can beat anybody. Is that good for a team? Like that constant reminder, you cannot take this week off.
I think 100%. I think if you were to look at, rewind 20 years, Florida was at the top of this conference, but they could never go out and win a national championship. And everyone would say the SEC wasn't what it is today. So they weren't battle tested as they went into the tournament of I have to be good every single night, because winning a national championship is hard. And I always look at this coming from the Olympic world where you can finish third and still get a piece of hardware. That's still a success. You get a bronze medal. Whereas if, you lose in the quarterfinals and the Elite Eight, everyone's like, oh, you're an Elite Eight team. Or if you lose in the semifinal, over and over again, everyone's like, you're just making it to the semifinal. This is hard to go out, and you have to win 6 matches in a row. For any team that's in a 64-team tournament, 6 matches in a row, and you can't take a night off. You can't have a loss in there, you go home. So I just think being battle-tested of hey, we need to be good every single night matters. And having to play at that high level for, 8, 9, 10 straight weeks, it kicks you into that tournament being all right, we're just doing what we normally did, as opposed to if we're in a weaker conference, it's all right, now we have to be good every single night. And it's really hard to kind of stay with that, but it's also tiring. It's a grind, and it grinds you down as the season goes on.
So what did you see from Kentucky, from your team after Kentucky in the lead up to Mississippi State?
I think it was from the 3rd set to the 4th set. We had a talk in the huddle. And talk is probably a light term. I was a little fired up, but just that if we want to be a top 4 team, it's going to take being uncomfortable for long periods of time. It's going to take having to play at a really high level for long periods of time, and it's not one of those things where you can kind of pick and choose kind of when it happens within a match. And it's going to take 5 sets of you playing like that, or possibly if you do it really well, 3 sets against a really good team. But you can't have these little dips and kind of ups. So I think from that point on, and I think on that 4th set, I was really happy with the way we played. And then I think we took one Thursday off, and Friday we came in with that mentality of we have to push, not because necessarily we're going to go, and play Kentucky on Sunday. But I said, Mississippi State's 12-2. They're a good volleyball team. But I think it was just for the sake of we need to push every single day. So I thought it was from that set on. That was the way practice was on Friday. That's the way practice was Saturday. And I thought we came out for the first 2 sets against Mississippi State with a sense of urgency of we're going to go play hard. And it dipped a little bit at the 3rd. And then when I took a timeout and talked about it, it picked back up a little bit. So I think we've talked, that's a muscle that you have to flex of being able to, fatigue. It's like a long distance runner. At some point that gets fatigued and the system comes down. And it's the same thing. And then if you go out and do it again, it happens a little bit longer, and then a little bit longer. It's the same thing of playing at a high level is that same idea. It's an endurance thing that has to happen, and you do it longer, and then you do it longer, and you do it longer. And hopefully by the end of the season, you're able to do it for 5 straight sets.
I tend to think the answer is going to be no here, but do you want your team mad after a loss and that whole week is, or is it, no, it's not mad, it's a focus. There's a attention to a detail that comes with it.
Yes, to both.
To both, okay.
Yeah, mad's the wrong word, but
But you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, no, it's not like, I want them to want to come in and put in the work to take out that frustration on whoever's next. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be mad as in like, we're over here and we're just getting frustrated about the loss. I want it to be focused on like, hey, these are the things that we need to get better at. Let's go get better at them and take that out on whoever we're playing next. And then hopefully get a chance. Again, I said afterwards, like we're close. Like, then again, that fourth set was it. You push that into 5, and all of a sudden you don't know what happens. Like, so I said, we're going to see Kentucky again, and we're going to watch video probably tomorrow, just on, hey, these are the things that we have to get better at between now and when we see them next.
Seeing this note, Maddie still leads the nation in assists per set and just surpassed 3,000 career assists. Just how critical is she to the distribution?
Huge. And like it's similar to a quarterback in football. Like that's the person that touches the ball in every single contact or every single possession. And just the ability to, 1, locate, and 2, be smart about who she's distributing to, especially when you have a team like ours that has the balance that it has. She's been huge to our success.
Any players that are starting to make a turn this year? Like, all right, I see where you're going.
Again, I've said this the entire year. It's been different people at different times.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've said, I'll just throw this one out there. They're like people that people haven't seen, but Megan Fitch went out and we had to, rest Kendall a little bit and had a great match. And not
12 kills.
Yeah, and it's not even just like this year. Like I've been saying it the entire time. Like the future of this program is bright, and I think there's the win now versus, again, like I think I've said this when I've been in here. I really have the mentality of, all right, if we were fast forward 4 years, like how are we setting ourselves up for success? And I think the young players that we have that are sitting here waiting in the wings, whether it be this year or next year, like they're going to be able to fill shoes and come in and play at a really high level. And Megan showed that on Sunday.
I was going to say, like, there's so many parallels with really good teams in whatever sport. If we're talking football this year with Coach Elko, if we're talking, whatever it may be, that it is about the now and about a couple years from now, right? Because if those players a couple years from now aren't participating this year or contributing, it's going to be much harder later. But for you to win this year at a high level, they need to contribute.
Yep. And the other piece, everyone always has the iceberg thing where you see the tip of it, but you don't see what actually happens. And like the magic's made in practice. And if that place isn't at a high level, and like in football, you can send your offense versus your defense, right? Like, so you can get your first, like the people that you're going to see on Saturdays, you're going to see both of them going at each other in practice, and you have a practice team that kind of gets out there. But like in our sport, like there's no offensive team and defensive team that's the same team, and your practice level needs to be really, really high. So not only is it, hey, like this is helping us in the future of like these people are going to be the people that are going to fill shoes, but it's also helping right now in the fact that our practice gym is one of the best in the country. And like, again, going back to that, you got to get comfortable playing at a high level. This is what they realize, like we have to push to that level in practice every single day. And if you don't have, the skill and the horses to go out and do that, like the athletes to go do that in practice where people are holding each other to that high standard, like it gets a lot harder. So for us, it's like it's the now and the future. It's helping both of them.
No midweek, right? So you get extra practice.
That's crazy.
It's been all year, right?
It's been all year. And maybe that's why I'm also coming in here bouncy. I'm like, man, we get to get into a rhythm now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we get to, I think, one, get our feet underneath of us and go probably a tiny bit lighter physically today and then kind of ramp into the week. But secondly, just we get a chance to work on us. And we'll mix in some stuff on Oklahoma as we get into practice for the first couple of days. But it's really the first chance that we get into a rhythm and work on us, and I'm excited about that.
What can you tell me about Oklahoma?
They're physical, they run fast, they serve tough. So, and again, I watched a little bit. They got 2 jump spinners, so it's just a little different than necessarily we have a fenna serve that we see in our gym, but just working with our passers on that a little bit and kind of pick up on some tendencies within that. And then just they're running a 6'2", and they run pretty quick. So as I get into studying, it'll be, hey, what do we need to adjust in order to get used to the speed that happens that we'll work on later on this week.
Crowds have been good?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I sent a message out on social media. It hasn't just been the numbers. It's just like, again, like
the passion.
And the reason why, like the building was electric going at the end of that 4th set. And like, we want a challenge and the place went crazy. And then we get into this deuce set and it's up, we're 26-26, place is going crazy. Then all of a sudden, like, it was over like that. And I think everyone was just like, whoa, what just happened?
I want more.
Including me. And it was just like, I wanted more of the 12th man and the, fired up right now of just the feeling in that place was different than anywhere else. So again, like the number is one thing, but it's just the passion that people bring. It's amazing.
Well, another opportunity, right?
2 of them this weekend. Yeah.
Jamie, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Pleasure.
you.
Thanks.
All right, Jamie Morrison here in studio. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. A little Aggie rugby to talk about. We haven't talked to those guys in a while. When it comes to preserving your farm and your ranch's legacy, it's not about the pretty pictures. It's not about Facebook memories. It's about capturing the essence of your land, and that's what Chance McClain has done with Heritage Films. He tells people stories. It could be your family business. It could be your family ranch. It could be your grandfather's story. He does these 2-hour documentaries in a first-class form, and you're going to be blown away by this. We did one for my pops a couple years ago, and it was amazing. He's 95 years old, and I'm telling you, do not wait till tomorrow to get these stories done because we're not promised tomorrow. Get this story done for the next generation and the generation after that. 2-hour documentaries, HBO, Netflix style of film that Chance and his team does. You can visit the website, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The A&M rugby team is riding high after back-to-back dominant victories at Baylor and Texas State. They're putting their sights on Saturday's 1 o'clock showdown against Texas at Pemberthy. And we've got Ian Linkerhof and Andres Lasala here to talk a little bit about it. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
So just first off, Ian, you start us off. How's the season gone so far?
So far, very good start to the season, especially for conference games. We've done we played Baylor first opening match, and we won 85-6. And then our other conference game was against Texas State, where we beat them in San Marcos. It was 70-10. And then we also traveled to Notre Dame recently. We didn't get the result that we wanted, but we still proved that we can compete with higher teams, and that's kind of our goal as well, is to not just play against teams that are local. We want to expand and just try to see what our true potential is in that, and we think teams like Notre Dame really test us on those ideas. So yeah.
Andres, how was that trip?
It was really fun. I mean, we had a pretty even first half. It ended 14-7. Then second half, we let ourselves slip a little bit. Showed us what we needed to work on and what we could get better and what we were good at as well. So we really were able to ride that and keep going and get better after that. So
keep it with you, Andres. Why does this team feel like they can win a championship this year?
Well, we feel like we can win a championship because we have the tools for it. Our forward pack, they're dogs. They're really good. They really put in the work to help us keep the ball, get the ball, and really do all of that. And then our backs, we have really good talents there. Caden, Jace are really good. And we just have to make sure that we can bind together and work off that. And then we have a really good coach, TUE Osborne, that joined us earlier this year. And he's really helping us get together and push forward for that. So,
Ian, what are those games that you've already played kind of tell you about the makeup of this team moving ahead?
I mean, like what Andrea said, we just have a really special group of guys. We've got some playmakers.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, in sports, you don't need a full roster of 23 of guys who can dominate the field. You need a couple special guys and some glue guys and our coach. And you've got a team, and that's what's been proven out here, And when we execute how we need to, when we play how we need to, we win. And that's what we think we can keep doing at the next stages against anybody that is willing to play against us.
You talk to us about this game against Texas, 1 o'clock, Penberthy. Just how good is Texas? How much does this rivalry mean to you?
To us, a lot. I think I mean we're out there representing Texas A&M, right? And we are very proud to do that. And I feel like we have to keep it going in the sense of we're going to show up with our A game, and we're going to try to beat Texas as bad as we can because we want to win, and that's really something that we want to keep doing for that. So, yeah.
Are they a pretty good program as well?
Yeah, historically we've had games that have been very close. Other times where it's been blowouts. The last game we had against them, I think we blew them out 103-0. I
like
don't.
That score.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be the case again. I feel like it's going to be a much more competitive game, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, kind of based off of scores of other teams. So for example, Sam Houston State's another very good team in the Lone Star Conference, and Texas played a pretty good game against them. So that's stuff to look comparable to, but we're still very confident in our ability to win.
How important is it to have a big crowd there for you all? And what can you tell folks? I mean, you just show up to Penberthy. Is there any details?
I mean, it's very important for us to get a crowd. I think for us, right, rugby is a smaller, much more of a niche sport, right? But I think it's something that has a lot of potential in it. When I show my friends clips of that, they're whoa, this is a really interesting sport to watch. And that's why I think it's so special that we have it here celebrating, the people who are at our school. Because at Penberthy this Saturday, it's free. All you have to do is grab a chair, grab a tent if you have one, and just take a seat and just watch us play. And that's what I think is so kind of special about sports, that especially this one. It's we're not charging anything. We're just wanting you to come out here, come support, have fun, and enjoy maybe something that you wouldn't think of every day. Maybe today I can go watch a new rugby game. That's something new. So yeah.
Andres, is there a lot of trash talking in these games, or is it more gentlemanly?
In the field, there's some trash talking that happens, but it's in general gentlemanly. But it's really funny to hear the trash talk that happens in there. So
yeah. Ian and Andres, thanks so much. Good luck to you guys. Get a win this weekend and keep on winning, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, we will hit a break. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, Jordan Pugh will keep it real, talk about the game we just had, obviously, against Florida, and get you ready for the Arkansas game. That and much, much more. It's TexAgs Live. When I think about Bruce Springsteen and Born in the USA, I think about Jordan Pugh because he keeps it real, and that's very American. We go to the Buppy's Catering Hotline. There he is. What's up, Jordan?
What's going on, man? How you living?
I'm okay. I'm okay. So I've been, what's the word I want to use here? Not justifying. I've been projecting these positive thoughts that, you know what? Yes, Le'Veon getting hurt sucks, but I think they're built to withstand it this year better than they were last year. And I've given some reasons. I think the defense is better. I think your running back room is better. So what do you think? Can they handle this stretch without Le'Veon better than they handled it last year?
Yes, I think they can. I think they're built for it. Like you said, we're playing complementary football as a team. Defense is doing their part, offense is doing their part, special teams are doing their part. But most importantly, the most important factor, the number one factor is we have depth. Okay. Last year, we didn't have Ruben Owens when he went down. Okay, until the Texas game, right? You already know what Amari Daniels can do. We have a young freshman back that can make plays. We have guys who can make plays, plus the wide receiver position, man. We already know what that is. We've been making plays all year. So the depth and the complementary pieces that we have offensively, same thing on the defensive side of the ball. I think we are built different this year, and I think we're built the right way. We're not fancy. You know, it's not a lot of splash to us. We just go in there, blue collar, and handle business. So I think that we have everything that we need in order to produce the results that we want, even when guys go down. And you're looking at it from the defensive side of the ball. Look at what Damian Sanford's doing, right? With Scooby Williams being out. Guys are stepping in and making plays. So I think we're built correct.
Well, and not only are we built differently, I think mentally we're built differently, right? Like, I think some of the calluses from last season are still there. So, like, areas that were pitfalls before, what Coach Elko keeps doing is things that were a narrative, he gets rid of them, and we start new narratives.
Well, I think, like you said, with the mentality part, if you think about it, man, it's really a mirror image of where we were last year. All right, so we had the initial blunder against Notre Dame last year, went on that run, and then things kind of just fell apart. We're kind of in that same exact scenario that we are right now. I want to say tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it started with the South Carolina game. I can't remember correctly. But we were on the road. So we're starting this 3-game road stretch now. Where we're going in, we're away from home. Momentum will be on the home team side, that kind of deal. I think this is, I don't call it a crossroads. We're not at that point. It's not that dramatic, right? But what I'm saying, I think this is the new challenge now. We've had the success. We've been here before. We've been in this situation as recent as last year. But when you look at the identity of where we are, when you look at the type of team that we are, how we put people in a chokehold and we don't let them out, I think we are built to win and sustain now, especially going on the road. Arkansas, LSU, South Carolina, if I'm correct. I think we have everything that we need, man, and the type of team and the type of play style to win on the road and sustain what we're doing.
Yeah, I think so too. So when you look at getting back to the backfield, Ruben Owens didn't have his he didn't have the Mississippi State game against Florida. And part of that is I think that defensive front that Florida has. So kind of compare what Florida's was able to do defensively and then kind of project it with what's ahead. Arkansas doesn't do a great job against the run. LSU, I think they're a work in progress, although they're a top 10 team. We know going to Baton Rouge is ridiculous. Missouri's taken on one really good team this year, and that's Alabama, and they went toe-to-toe with them. So when you kind of think about these next three and, what this backfield can do, what do you see?
Well, I think that the backfield production is based off the wide receiver production. The difference between where we were last year and this year is we have home run hitters on the outside, which reduces the amount of box players that you have. So it opens up the run game. It allows our guys to be more effective. So we go back to last year. Look how good Le'Veon was without a true threat in the passing game last year. Now you're seeing him take off. You're seeing Ruben Owens take off. And I think what it does is it forces the defense to make a decision. So when you look at a defense like Florida, we talked about how big of a challenge that would be because we knew that they had a great defense, but they've just been lacking on the offensive side of the football. When you go down these next couple games, when you look at Arkansas, I think that's a game that we can handle. You look at LSU, that'll be a challenge because they have some front seven players that can play. South Carolina, they have a good front seven. But I think with what we've done as far as building from the outside in year two versus from the inside in year one, we're really opening up the run game. Plus, Ruben offers a little bit different package than Le'Veon does. He can line up. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's more of an explosive threat in that sense. Plus, he can run in between the tackles. So I think the creativity of what Colin Klein wants to do will be on full display because of just the skill set that he has, right? And he can be that bruiser too. So when you look at overall where we were from last year to this year, I think having the additions in the home run threats at the receiver position allows us to be way more effective in the run game, plus Marcel's feet. So I think those are all big additions, man. That will be big time on the road for us because we can silence a lot of the crowd and we can take away a lot of what the defense wants to do based off the three-headed component that we have with the run, the pass, and then Marcel's feet.
Jordan, am I being a homer here? I thought Des Ricks was picked on a little bit, and I thought he had pretty good coverage for the most part. I just feel like the throws and catches were fantastic early on. It seemed like they made a concerted effort to go after him, and they had initial success. But again, like outside of a play or two, I feel like it was just really good throws and really good catches.
Yes and no. I think he played – well, let me take that. I was about to say he played his worst game. I don't think he played his worst game. I just think he played a game where he was going against elite talent. Those receivers they got at Florida are good, and they're young. That's going to be a problem moving forward. But, I just think it's one of those games where he was off, right? I've been talking more about Will Lee and how he needs to step up. I thought Will Lee played his best game of the year, and I thought Dez played his worst game of the year. So, it's one of those deals where, man, you play this game long enough, things are going to happen. You're going to give up plays. That's the nature of being on the island at the corner position. But the consistency that he's shown throughout the year, it gives me full confidence of him moving forward. Then with what Will did, I thought Will really stepped up. I thought he played well. You knew that they were going to attack him based off everything that has been shown on film, and I thought he played his best game outright. He was making plays in the past game. He was stepping up and filling in run gaps, so I thought he did a really good job. But I think Des Ricks will be fine, man. It's just one of those weeks. It just is what it is. It happens. You play long enough, you're going to get beat on some routes. That's just how it works at the DB position, and I think he'll be fine.
All right, Jordan, so what do they do? I mean, Florida scores 14 quick early points in the fourth quarter. Then they got outscored 20-3. So what happened? Like, what changed?
I think that we saw – so what you saw was a different Florida team. So when they played Texas, they had their full stable back, right? But it was only a one-game sample size. So you don't have a lot of game prep with those individual players on the football field. So you knew this was going to be one of those deals where, hey, man, they can get out early. They have the guys who can hit the home run threats on us. But once again, we made the adjustments. Once again, our front seven started to take over and control the games. Once again, we earned the right to rush the passer on third down because we controlled first and second down. But if you notice, man, we have that crazy stat on third down that everybody's talking about. But when you look, I really would like to know what the stats are on first and second down because we're getting in more and more third and long distances. So it's allowing Elko to be more creative when it comes to the defensive play calling and the schemes and schematics of it all. So, man, what we've done defensively, man, being able to make the adjustments with our front seven being able to step up, that's where you're seeing a lot of the success happen.
So I hate to keep going last year, this year, but because we're in such a similar position, it becomes an easy talking point. But another thing about last year to this year, I remember doing this show and I'd talk to you about it. And like, even though they were 6-1, 7-1, I was like, but they keep giving up the big plays, right? Yeah. And that was a storyline from the Notre Dame game beyond. Yeah. I don't see that this year. Like, I mean, sure, there's some big plays. Of course, it's football. You're going to give up big plays. But the tackling, significantly better, right, Jordan? Like, they're gang tackling. Like, their ability to get in the backfield. There's a reason, like, the quarterbacks are struggling against A&M is because the pressure they put on them. So I'm saying all these things as a way to not only convince myself, but to also, like, nail the point. Like, I do believe in this team.
Yes. We take it from week one all the way to now. They've improved every single week, right? The first 2 weeks were giving up perimeter runs. We're not gap sound. There was one particular play where I saw the maturation of this defense. It was made from Dalton Brooks. He was 15 yards off the football. I want to say it was the third quarter. He came down and he filled in. It looked like it was a cover four setting on defense. He came down, he filled the run and made a stop for a 1 yard gain. When I saw that play, I said, they're getting it now. It's clicking because the way that he triggered, how fast that he triggered on that football and made that play. Now you're seeing the totality of the defense come in. And so we talked about playing that first and second down, everybody being gap sound. They're closing off the perimeter runs. They're taking away initial threats that they want offensively to their best players. Our safeties are making tackles for 1 yard gains behind the line of scrimmage. Our blitz packages on third down are phenomenal. You are seeing a team that has matured, that has fixed the small, minute things, and now it's allowing the defense to be complete and play at its full potential. That's what we're seeing. Now, the beautiful thing that I love about what we're doing defensively is defense travels, especially going on the road. And the way that we're tackling right now, that is what you want as far as progressing throughout the season and peaking at the right time. The one thing that let us down really was the defense last year, the missed tackles, because we scored the points. We were in games offensively. But now looking at what our defense is doing, looking at how Cassius Howell, Searcy, you're looking at Hayes, man, what they're doing coming through on the defensive line, that stuff travels. And so, man, it's going to be vital that the defense keeps the momentum up. They keep playing gap sound, because there's going to be some lulls on the road offensively. That's just the nature of how this game goes. And I think they can keep us in every game. But I love the way that the defense is playing, man. It's exciting to see. I need 2 more games. I need 2 more games before I start throwing that little phrase around, something called the wrecking crew around. I need about 2 more games. If I get to those 2 more games, especially on the road, I think we have something special.
Jordan, here's a stupid question. All right, you ready for a stupid one? Why? I've said it my whole life. Okay, why does defense travel? What about defense travels but offense doesn't? What is it about defense that can weather the environment, the atmosphere? Why does it not matter as much?
Because offense requires chemistry and timing. Defense requires chaos. People complicate the game of football too much. It's not a very complicated football game. On defense, it is my job to whoop your ass and create as much chaos as possible. So then I disrupt timing. I disrupt chemistry. I disrupt all the flow of the offense. The reason why the offense is a little bit harder on the road is because, man, you're talking about conditions with noise, momentum. All that stuff is real, and it takes time to create a flow of chemistry. That's why on the road offense, you want to start fast. You want to get the plays out. You want to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand, create rhythm as fast as possible. Defense is about effort. Defense is about want to. Yes, schemes matter. But, man, if you can create the chaos, if you can whoop that man in front of you, you take away a lot of what the offense wants to do. That's why it always travels. That's why whenever you start practice, defense is always ahead of the offense. And if you have guys like we have at the front seven that can create chaos, that can cause all those things to collapse, those are what you're looking for. And that's the progression that I've seen, man, with us this season. I think it's been a beautiful thing.
Jordan, I don't know if you know this about me, but I like to create shirt ideas that never get done. And I think we've created a new shirt idea. Did you say defense is about chaos? What was the exact phrase? Because it was perfect.
I said offense is about chemistry. Defense is about chaos. And I think people lose sight in that, man. Defense, I'm getting in my coaching mode now.
Come on, get coach. I want to hear it.
What that joker's butt in front of you. It's simple. It's not that complicated, because if you're doing that, it allows me to do what I want to on the back end. Man, so if we understand that simple concept, if we have that in our mindset, it takes care of everything else, man. I do like that for a shirt, man. We need to put that together. Offense is about chemistry. Defense is about chaos. It's that simple.
Bam. All right. I'm making that shirt one day. CC Creations, I'm hollering. Cassius Howell. That's chaos right there, my friend.
Yes.
Chaos Cassius.
I was thinking about this. So, we had Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, those guys on the D-line, right? The one thing that I think Cassius does really well that people aren't talking about is how well he plays the run. The more and more that I watch the tape, the more and more I'm falling in love with how he plays the run. Then when we get to the passing downs, it's full havoc from there. He's playing his way into a first-round draft pick. I mean, he's doing things, man. His knee, his bend, his sprint to power. I think, man, he is the agent of chaos. He's everything that you want as a defensive coordinator, because he just creates problems. And then he's opening up other opportunities for guys on the defensive line. The Searcy's, Hayes, Regis, all those guys are benefiting based off what he's doing. The growth of this team from game 1 to whatever game we're on now, game 6 or game 7, it's been phenomenal. Now, this is where we have to bring it back home. And I love what Elko's doing, because he's always bringing it back home. It is going to be the toughest stretch of the season, because now we're taking this thing on the road 3 straight times. Where is the focus now? That's the hardest part. We figured out everything else. Can we retain the focus defensively, offensively? Can we keep that going in environments that are not favorable to us? That's going to be the next test. I believe that's why nobody's talking about us. We're the 4th ranked team in the country, and we're the quietest fourth-ranked team I've ever seen, right? Because I still think people have their doubts, have their wits. And I think when we go on the road to Arkansas, especially when we go on the road to LSU, that's going to wake a lot of people up based on how we focus and if we continue to execute.
So I'm watching those highlights. I don't know if you got to see him play on Zoom, but he's being held on every play, right? So, there's the Shaq rules. Like, they changed the rules because Shaq was so dominant. It felt like they called the game differently. Cassius has been so dominant that they are allowing the Florida offensive lineman to grab his jersey on almost every play.
That's what happens when you're agent of chaos, man. Look, every defensive coordinator wants one thing on the defensive line: create as much humanly chaos and violence as possible. And that's what Cassius is doing. That's what everybody's doing across the defensive line. Because when you do that, it opens up the playbook. It opens up the blitz packages. It allows you to play more man coverage because you have those hosses up front. You're seeing a team that is built right from the inside out. That is sustainable, and those are the models that you want to have.
Damian Sanford, every week, something happens. You're like, man, that's a game-changing play. Like, this kid is playing, man.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What's the report on Scooby? What's going on with him?
He played a little bit. I just think they're going to – the fact that you have Sanford has allowed you to take your time with him. And I'm kind of hoping that's what happens with Le'Veon, that, like, Ruben does so well, that Amari does so well, Morrow does so well, EJ, that you can take your time with Le'Veon. I think that's what's happening with Scooby. But at the same time, Sanford's becoming a starter.
We said this, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We said, hey, man, do you take him off the field because he's hot? But here's the thing that everybody needs to be excited about. Okay, let's say you know nothing about football and you're trying to understand how this game of football works, how it plays. You always need depth. If you have depth that is producing at the starting level, that is a championship format, and that's a championship foundation. And what you are seeing is key depth pieces that are coming in and nothing is falling off. There's no foundational issues. There's no cracks. You're watching guys who are stepping in and contributing right away. That's what you want to have within that. So what Sanford is doing and how he's come in and replaced Scooby Williams has been phenomenal. And it's hard to take those type of guys off the football field.
Jordan, let's close out with some thoughts about Arkansas. Taylor Green, dynamic quarterback, a team that can score points on anybody. They're going to be at home. It'll be Petrino's first home game as the interim head coach. How nasty can this one get, or is this a game that A&M should take care of business and put it on ice as they do in the fourth quarter?
They should take care of business. They should. Here's the caveat: you have a dynamic quarterback, okay, and then you have a play caller in Petrino, okay, who's going to dial up some things that's going to create a lot of eye violations. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the focus. When I talk about understanding your assignment and then being able to handle all the ups and downs of playing on the road. That's the number one thing. So defensively, I can see Petrino attacking Cassius Howe, a guy who likes to get upfield, get vertical, create the chaos, use that against use his greatest strength against him, right? Looking at the different eye disciplines. Those are going to be the key focus things that we got to have defensively. Offensively, I think we can do what we want at will. The number one key is this: can we continue to hit the open shots when they're there, or the open layups? What I mean by this is, I said this last week, we are going to go as far as Marcel takes us. And I think if we continue to improve on those deep ball shots, because we've improved on the intermediate, the run game, all that. But if we can improve on the home runs and take the air out of the stadium, I think that's going to be big for us. So, man, we should handle them. We are the better team without a shadow of a doubt. But when you have a mobile quarterback who can create plays, that creates life, that creates momentum, that creates a flow. We have got to be able to eliminate that, because that's what happened to us against South Carolina last year. You got a mobile quarterback who did those things. So we can focus up and do that. We should handle business easily.
Jordan, as always, great stuff, bro. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Jordan Pugh there on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. He always gets me fired up. Like, I want to go play football for him. I'm an old man. I'd like to go play football for him. Imagine bringing Jordan to Brazos Valley MMA. He'd kill fools.
Yeah.
Like, he would just absolutely destroy them, and then he could coach you in the middle of it. All right, let's talk about Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're an Aggie-owned and operated mobile IV company that was founded here a couple years back. Danny and Sheldon are fantastic. And so if you do a lot of yard work, if you're out at festivals, if you work out, if you're just busy, You need to make sure that you're taking a look at what you're putting into your body, because they'll take great care of you with their weight loss options, their IV hydration, and their Botox. If you need a quick boost of hydration or a dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs based on what your busy weekend looks like. So if you're driving the kids around to all these sporting events, if you've got a concert that you're going to be at all day, you're going to be at Kyle Field for a long time, and you're outside tailgating, you need to make sure you get all the vitamins and minerals that make you feel so much better. To book an appointment or inquire about their services, what you need to do is call them up, 979-217-1561. That is 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Coach Henry reached out to me. They have the largest cross-country event. They got their Arturo Barrios Invitational. 50 universities, begins at 8 a.m. Men and women. The women are over at 10 a.m. They're having a really nice season, so make sure you go support A&M cross-country. Of course, the track and field team, the men won the national championship. The women came super close and had a great run, and cross-country's killing it as well. So big props out to them, and, of course, to Coach Henry, who will be here in studio at some point here soon. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, because earlier in the program, we said, McKinley, no soup for you. We want you to always have some nominees for the Performance of the Week, but OB and I started just chatting away like old friends.
Yep.
Somebody on the YouTube page said that they called us geezers, Olin and I. They're like, oh, those guys are so old. I'm like, bro, I wish you would say that. And I'd probably agree with you because I am old. Anyway.
No, not old.
Old is a state of mind.
Yeah.
And a reality. By the way, you're older now than you were 5 seconds ago.
That's true.
We can't stop
That's
it,
true.
McKinley.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so who's on your Performance of the Week?
So I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
I have a few volleyball players I want to highlight. They had some pretty big accomplishments this past week. Logan Lednicki entered the top 10 for career kills at Texas A&M with her 1,418th. Afina Kozak-Paula achieved 500 career kills with her second of the game. Addie Applegate reached 100 career digs with her 7th of the afternoon. And Megan Fitch set a career high in both kills, 12 and aces too.
That's awesome. Yeah, and
cool.
they got a couple games this weekend at Reed, so hopefully they'll keep it going. Do you have anybody else you want to highlight?
Well, I have a question.
I got an answer.
TexAgs chat. Ag Engineer said, my biggest question for this game is how they redistribute Moss's carries, especially who is in the back that is going to step up in short yardage / goal line. All
right, do me a favor, okay? Can you do this for me?
Yep.
Can you look at Le'Veon Moss's game log from this year, okay?
Yep.
And just look at the amount of touches he's gotten. And by the way, I know he's had the bulk of the carries, but there's been a couple games he hasn't. For instance, the Mississippi State game, that was a Ruben Owens special, right? So kind of go through that and tell me what you have. You have it in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2025 season stats, 70 carries, 389 yards, 6 touchdowns.
No. His game log.
Oh, I have it. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
I got the game log.
Okay.
And from Florida, 5 carries, 46 yards, 1 touchdown.
Okay. Other games?
Okay. Mississippi State, 11 carries, 36 yards.
Okay.
Auburn, 21 carries, 139 yards.
He was huge in that game.
Yeah, huge in that game. Notre Dame, 20 carries, 81 yards.
Those 2 games, he got the bulk load. Yep.
Utah State, 10 carries, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. And UTSA, 3 carries, 19 yards.
Okay, so I guess my point is, absolutely they were building him up for this part of the season. But they have played games where he touched the ball 3 times, where he got 10. Then he had that middle part where he was getting it 20 times a game. This team has basically already gone through this exercise before. We'd love to have him. I think you're going to see Ruben get the bulk of those. I think you're going to see kind of depending on the hot hand. I think it'll be more of a Ruben Amari, Ruben Jamarian. And then I think when you need, I think the fact that EJ is a little bit stronger, bigger back, you might see him on some short yardage situations. That's how I see kind of it playing out. I also want to, before we hit a break, and we're going to talk to an Arkansas insider, John Nabors, our good buddy, Bill Belichick. They released a joint statement calling the rumors about him leaving UNC categorically false. And I think when there's a joint statement by a program in the middle of the year, I just don't buy it. There's something about it that it just doesn't sit well with me. Also, when it does no good to talk about it if you're, Bill Belichick may decide that he needs to go in a different direction. But I'm curious how much the Jordan Hudson situation has changed the way we look at him. If he came into this and look up UNC schedule, I know they're terrible, or their record for me, McKinley. But if he came into this with the same record they have, but there was none of this off the field kind of quote unquote drama, would we give him a little bit more grace because you're like, hey, he's trying to build a program. He's bringing an NFL philosophy. They're kind of doing it from the ground up. And anytime there's a coaching change, you got it. And I wonder if there would be more grace. And then I'm going to flip that with, would there be more grace if his run at New England would have finished differently? Because, actually, let me rephrase that. If Tom Brady didn't have the success that he had with Tampa, the success that Tom had at Tampa, I think, has changed the way we look at Bill Belichick. And now, instead of adding to his legacy, like if I'm Bill, you have ruined your reputation. So I'm sticking it out at North Carolina to prove that I can fix the Tar Heels, who have not had this historically great program, right? Like, to me, leaving now only cements that you were a Tom Brady partner, right? Not that you are the greatest coach of all time, even though he should be, right? What's the record? Like 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Okay.
Yep, they're 10th in ACC. They lost to TCU. They won to Charlotte, won to Richmond, lost to UCF, and lost to Clemson.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah. But if you're Bill Belichick, I think the outside noise has been bad for you. And also, like, you just haven't been a kind person. Like, go be kind. I'm not saying he's like a mean person, but he's just not a kind person. Like, he comes across as just like this gruff guy. How about you be kind, figure it out in North Carolina, give it the 3 years, if they'll give you those 3 years, because, you know, and because no matter what, you have ruined or damaged, not ruined, you have damaged your reputation. All right, we'll move on from that. We'll talk a little Arkansas on the other side. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. In today's fast-paced world, you need a car. Everybody looks on their phones. Everybody looks on the internet. Just go check out the website. You're going to see the selection that they have at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have a great selection. They have great customer service, and they have great pricing. And at the end of the day, that's what you want from your dealer, right? You want to go to a place that you can feel that you're not going to get screwed around. You want to be able to get a great price. And also, when there's issues, you want the customer service to be there to help you through the process. Complimentary oil change, as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. You want that. They have that. That's thousands of dollars in savings. And also, if you got to work and you're like, I can't make the drive to Caldwell, they have complimentary pickup for their service customers. So they'll take great care of you, and delivery as well. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend John Nabors joining us from inside Arkansas and the host of Locked On Hogs. Mr. Nabors, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, actually. A lot of changes, a lot of new things here in Fayetteville, but it's going well.
I remember talking to you in July at SEC Media Days, and you were like, yeah, I don't think we're going to be very good. Okay, so they're not very good, but they're super competitive in these games, or at least the score makes you believe that. So if you haven't watched every minute of Arkansas football, are they better than their record? Are they more competitive because these games are tight, or is it just kind of a masquerade?
I think it's more of a masquerade than anything. It kind of makes me laugh. There's a shirt that's been sold quite a bit here in Arkansas that says we are the best at coming close to almost winning every game, because that's kind of how it feels. It's like they're good enough, they're competitive, they are right there, but they shoot themselves in the foot each and every time. And, this year you've had 3 games that ended with 1 possession losses, and it comes down to fumbles pretty much. I mean, there's other things that go into it, but they're a good team. Like they're good enough to be there. They're good enough to be in a competitive game against really good teams. I mean, going on the road to Tennessee is not an easy task, but they just keep shooting themselves in the foot regardless of who the head coach is, it seems like.
Does it feel like the team has given up yet? Or no, this is Petrino's first home game. Here we go. Let's just try to do it one last ditch.
I don't think they've given up yet. That Notre Dame game, oh yeah, they gave up. I mean, they gave up 42 points in the first half. It's hard to say that they didn't give up on the team, but that's what led ultimately to the firing of Sam Pittman. Insert Bobby Petrino. Still crazy to think that he's the head coach once again at Arkansas, but you bring him in. I think everybody was wondering, okay, so how's this going to look? Are they going to fight for Bobby? They're going to play for Bobby? Seems like pretty crazy circumstances. Well, Tennessee, I know they still lost, but they definitely did not give up. They played hard and they played for Bobby. So I don't think they've given up. I don't think they've let go of the rope. And I think most Razorback fans are just hoping that this wasn't some sort of momentum killer at all, where they at least show up a little bit against Texas A&M, because the Aggies are really good. But I don't think there's any question that the team has not let go of the rope just yet. Texas A&M may change that though on Saturday.
What is different with Bobby Petrino as the head coach? I mean, I know the defensive staff, which is kind of, I don't know how I feel about that, firing your defensive staff mid-season, bringing in new folks, and like having to figure it out as you're going to Tennessee. But like, what's different?
Well, I think it's a matter of confidence, because the thing is, Sam Pittman had a lot of good qualities and everything. But the one thing that you could just tell, even from press conferences, is that he just wasn't the detailed guy, the guy that just looked at the smallest of things that could understand, all right, this is what we need to do. This is how we do it. This is what we're going to work on. I mean, there'd be some very general statements, but that just wasn't his thing. And with Bobby, you can tell, I mean, the guy's been a successful coach pretty much everywhere he's been. The simple things like, hey, what'd you see on this third down play? And he'll go through exact details of what he saw, what they wanted to do, what they were trying to do, why they went with this decision. And I think it's just a matter of feeling a little bit more confident, to where you're not saying he's just automatically going to win games because he's more confident. But from a fan perspective and from everyone just listening to him, he sounds just so much more adequate to be in this role than what the previous coach was. And I've even brought up, it's weird how many times have we seen a head coach get fired and the interim coach automatically is a better head coach right off the jump before they even coach a game. I feel like that's how Arkansas has it. And I think you could have a lot worse options as an interim coach than having Bobby Petrino.
Am I simplifying it too much? A&M beats Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes to Fayetteville and kills Arkansas. Can that happen again? I mean, I know A&M's got some injury situations that'll hurt the offense, but I mean, is that simplifying it too much, or are they a different team?
I think that they are a different team. Now, that's not to say that A&M won't destroy Arkansas, because they're perfectly capable of it. Arkansas loves playing their best games on the road and playing their worst games at home. They have a really big knack for that for some reason. But I think it was just that Notre Dame game was when the team let go of the rope before the game even started. I mean, leading up into the week, you could tell that even though they had those close losses to Ole Miss, close loss to Memphis, the team gave up. And so if Arkansas would have gotten destroyed by Tennessee, then absolutely I'd feel the same way. But I'm like, I want to see a bigger sample size than this. That Notre Dame game, I think if you played it this week instead of A&M, I think you see a completely different result. Doesn't mean Arkansas wins, but you see a much more competitive game. I think that was just a bad timing for Arkansas when they let go of the rope here.
Talk to me about Arkansas's issues stopping the run, because 264 yards rushing from Tennessee, something ridiculous like that. What's the big issue there?
They just don't have depth. And I know that, every defense, every team wants to have quality depth. Arkansas has some guys that can play pretty well as starters, especially on the defensive line. But, man, they have nothing behind them. It's just a very wiped defensive line, especially at the midway point of the season, where Cam Ball's a good player. Quincy Rhodes is a good player. I think Philip Lee's a good player. Justice Boone are good players. These are good players, but they can only go so far. I mean, when Cam Ball, who is a team captain, one of the best defensive linemen, when he's having to play 50, 60 snaps a game as a defensive tackle, I mean, you're going to wear down. And I think that that's what happens to these teams, to this Arkansas team late in games, is they just wear down. They just don't have that depth. And anytime that you're able to have an effective run, it's going to wear you down. It seems like twice as fast as giving up a bunch of big passes. So I just don't think that they have that much depth. They've done a good job in occasions, but once they hit that wall, it's all out from there. And Arkansas usually gives up a lot of points.
All right. So talk to me about the offensive line, because Taylon Green, I think he's been sacked 8 times in the last 2 games. Before that, he was pretty clean. Is it because he's holding the ball too long? Is the offensive line struggling? What's happening there?
As weird as it is, I actually think Arkansas's pass protection is probably the best they've had under the Sam Pittman era, as ironic as it is. I do believe, though, that the Tennessee game itself was almost I don't want to call it an anomaly, but Tennessee is one of the best teams in the country and in the SEC at getting to the quarterback, leading the SEC in sacks. And I think that they, especially in that third quarter, just ate Arkansas alive. They tried to move some offensive linemen around to kind of counter that. Didn't necessarily work. So I still think it's a really good offensive line pass protection wise. I just think they went up against some really, really good defensive fronts, and they got another one coming in this week. So I think it's more so of just the competition they played, less than of what the actual offensive line is. But there's no doubt that they're going to have to be on their A game if they want to try to protect Taylon Green, because he's a phenomenal player, great athlete. But anytime he gets rattled, man, he shuts down pretty quickly. So they're going to have their work cut out for him once again this weekend.
Did you say this is the best offensive line you think they've had in the Sam Pittman era? Do you remember the 21 season? That offensive line was great.
Yes. But here's the difference, though, is that I was talking about pass protection offensive line.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, because his thing is this team has done okay in the rushing attack, but that team back in 2021, pass protection wise, they were good, but I feel like this team, at least from what we've seen so far, is one of the better ones.
I hope so. I mean, if they're giving up 5 and 3, I'm just kidding with you, John.
Yeah.
Let's focus on what's next for Arkansas. I mean, is Bobby Petrino a legitimate candidate? And who are the names, the James Franklins of the world? Like, who are the names that make sense for Arkansas here in the future?
Well, Bobby Petrino is absolutely a candidate, and he knows it, and he's been told that. And it's almost like he has his audition tape here over these 7 games that he's going to be coaching in. And he's a legit guy. I mean, there's a lot of familiarity there. I don't know what's crazier, seeing Bobby Petrino as the head coach or John Calipari as the basketball coach. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have laughed at you. But here we are. Crazy times. But I think not only is Petrino there, but he has to prove himself. Rhett Lashley was the obvious go-to connection. It ain't happening. I don't see Rhett Lashley coming up here. He's an Arkansas guy, but I think he's content down there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's SMU. Obviously, the James Franklin thing has added some things into the mix. I don't know if that's going to be something that Arkansas is in the mix for. It depends on what other jobs open up. But names that I've actually been really paying attention to a lot. Dan Mullen apparently really wants the job, from what I understand. He would love to get back into the SEC, obviously over there at UNLV. So I know that there's some connections there. I know that a guy like Alex Golish from USF, there's been some talk because his wife's from Arkansas, ironically enough. Not to say that's the only factor, but he's definitely a name that's in there. And then you got the common ones like the John Sumralls of Tulane. Would he be interested in the job? Would there be somebody else like a John Gruden that everyone's going to be throwing around? Who really knows? But that's what makes this so fascinating is Arkansas has this opening so early in the season. There's so many names to kind of go through. Don't really know how many of them are legitimate, but they at least have this step in the right direction, a step ahead from everybody else. Is it going to work out? This time will tell, but I think that there's a lot of names that will be interested in the job. It just depends on what other jobs end up opening up, because there's been a lot of them so far this season.
I haven't heard anybody mention Jimbo Fisher. Not a candidate in your eyes?
Jimbo had a great run, but no. Because I look at it, it's like, man, no offense, but if you can't do it at Texas A&M effectively, I don't really know if you could go into Arkansas and do it very effectively. So, it is what it is. I don't know if Jimbo would be interested. Maybe he is because he's wanting to get back into coaching. But no, we appreciate it, Jimbo, but we may go a different direction down here in Arkansas.
What's best case record this year, considering what's still ahead?
Well, here's the thing: is you got 6 games. You're sitting at 2-4. So obviously, to get to a bowl game, you got to win 4 of your last 6. And Arkansas's got a pretty daunting schedule. I mean, obviously A&M coming into town this weekend, but after that, starts the 3-game stretch at home. You have Auburn at home and then Mississippi State at home. Those are 2 winnable games. Not saying Arkansas for sure winnable, but very winnable. And then you go after a bye week and then on the road to Texas and LSU. I know Texas and LSU are good teams, but they're also not these juggernauts, especially offensively, that maybe a lot of people thought they would be. And Arkansas's biggest bugaboo this year has been going up against good offenses and giving up a lot of points. So not saying they'll win, but it's pretty tough. And then you end the season with Missouri at home, which Missouri is good. To me, best case scenario is they win 2 more of these games. I think if they go 4-8 on the overall season, it's about as good as you could have asked given the circumstances. But anything above that, I feel like would be a massive success. And I would even make the argument that if Bobby wins 3, especially 4 down the stretch, not only does the guy get the job, he deserves the permanent job going forward. But it's not going to be easy for him, that's for sure.
John, I appreciate it, man. I know I'll be on your show soon. Appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Anytime. Thanks so much.
John Nabors there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short final segment here on the show. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it comes with the right team, and you better get Aggie-owned Paragon Financial to take care of you. Paragon Financial Advisors is an independent fiduciary firm serving clients across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have 18 professionals on their staff, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, a CPA, and their expertise runs deep at Paragon because credentials matter, and so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or call them up, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. 0 sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Looking at the YouTube page, tennis girl joining the chat says we're going to be crying on Saturday, but she's not an Arkansas fan. Why is she so invested in this game then? Like, why is she talking about it? Look, there was a time on this show where whatever the narrative was, it would be the opposite. Nick, you know, how many times did we talk about last year? I would be like...
Someone played a whole season, Auburn quarterback, Peyton Thorne. Horrible, but then he went off against A&M.
He went off, or like, oh, this offensive line, they're all making their first start ever. They're going to be the worst offensive line ever. No sacks, okay? And it was my fault. I recognize that. So you know what I did? I started doing more research. And I realized it has nothing to do with research. It has to do with what they do across the street. I have no bearing on what's going to happen. Whatever I say on the air has no bearing on what happens in the field. I wish I had that kind of power. It'd be cool. I'd be doing things differently. But I think this season is about like just changing the way we look at A&M forever and ever. Like instead of
so.
Look, until the first loss, because I know
it definitely feels different.
It feels different. It looks different.
Mm-hmm.
It feels different. It is different. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be the worst host ever if A&M loses a game. Because it's somehow magically an OB and I are not as funny. And we're actually fake funny.
And it's your fault that they lost.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's happened. I feel good about our coach, guys. I like him. I like the way he answers questions. I like the way he coaches. I like the culture across the street. I like it all. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I had to use my Tony Montana accent for that. All right. That's good. You know who Tony Montana is? Then why'd you laugh?
I don't like the accent.
You don't know Tony Montana? A political refugee from the island of Cuba? No?
Tony Montana?
Oh, my.
No,
Nick, you know who Tony Montana is.
I do
right?
know who Tony Montana is.
I don't know.
He wears white suits.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. You know what a Hassa is, Frank? Never mind. I'm not going to do Tony anymore. We'll see you guys next time. It's TexAgs Live.